About Pam, my bush, I'm finding out from my crab and the boon in Kessben Kessben television. So, Mrasso, say your mind get a moon, so my dish, yes, you see, no, your day ever so my Cassie. That I know Kessben television, so on a Sasso and a DSTV. A channel 364, Go TV channel 121, Facebook and a YouTube when you can see you. Now, what should be a so idea from 7 or the bedding walk with no ebony. Your mom penny John Dramani Muhammad and Yacho Korea Memu. The nay was still Korea minus or my boy, my Ghana. Now you queer titsuni kuko piano, ain't me and conquer pa. Sasson Wakasa Adia Fire Mukia Yahua. You been your brain at the moon, she moso at the Amamu. O man penny Abedi, Professor Jenano Poquadiman. So pem so as and on my Ghana. Mono, and ma ano betimi abremu ebi beko na emu nsema hodo nso ye de amamu oso afo hwe amanwe ho nsem so mra se bedwani adema ade hye wasan wase abato mpesu yaso nyamfo mu ntaka na ekase nanse no bi o mapron se Ghana mabunu do mpesu mko police soldier afei no immigration fire any prisons no ene obegina central forum de nsem bi atu yanim ama nipa nya ho akonya no wode ho kontabu nyina so atimi aba adom kuma wo man Ghana mra so be fie na ekase mo kire se oso afo hwe amano na ho nsem so na nu akoyi nika ewo nsem bi ho a obesre se etwase sama na de ba o man Ghana yemra se be fie mu papa yin se mokotu ode kokoka ya ene ye ho aba asem no ye de mu nche mu nyina so ebema mo na beba awura mu ewo apomden mu nsem kakra e de amamo konfa no che abanya resebie mu ene ebeko kidney yade ne ho aka ho bi amenei omudwumadi bi ahye so a abeko ho na yen central fodi achi no omudi mu nsem amaye ensem we yadwade ensem eka ho ebeko nkrofo man so na de free ho ba ne nyina so ye de amamo oni aba ma wasempa kani Samson me ene magye brakase mu nche mu nyina no me de ebeso ye ntwa ye homre na afeni nsem mu nche mu ankasa no yemfa emamo Omade shafe yensem na se emfa emam ye sha se de afie mampani John Dramani Mahama na kache na no dwada ene otie na achi from my Ghana mu okopie South Korea oko na woni mu mpanimfa ho de ho no akotu na mo na nkonyasie mu no o ma kyerɛkyerɛ ne ma hodo ehia o man Ghana de ato South Korea man no animu na mo so de ehia wo mo man Ghana so betimi aboa wo mo so no no ma hwe ne nyina de agupuno so na afi ya hwe mu atase de betimi aboa amayi mpuntuo na amayi ne mienu no ayonkofa no ne nyina so atimi agina brane ewo amayi mienu mu ye mampani John Dramani Mahama ekopie South Korea no eno wache so man Ghana de sine ni so se ene ye kooko ahodo ye no man Ghana mu no ye betimi adan da mu ewo ha ansa de konkrofo man so basa no a ebo a ye benya konkrofo man so no emu be yedu pa e de amaye enam se yetu ana mo mpanti no bese South Korea man mu mpanimfo se sa na mo ntu a man Ghana peso wotu no won so ya sere na ye kooko ma no ye dan da mu mfidie ene nimdi ahodo betimi de aboa ngina no omontimi emfa maye nemwa ema ekoko kuayo na afi so man Ghana ene South Korea yonkofa no ene ni ye yo ho nsem entimi enkonkan.
Ghana has the natural resources and human resources, and Korea has the technology and innovation. I believe that we can bring these two together in a win-win partnership. We like to add value to our products, and I want to thank you for the chocolates that you gave me. We enjoyed them yesterday, and I'm happy to note that I also brought you Ghanaian chocolates, and so we can enjoy the sweetness of both chocolates. Because of climate change, we've had some issues with the production of cocoa, and as a result of that, a few years ago, there was a decline in cocoa production, and this year there's overproduction, and so cocoa doesn't have a stable price, it keeps fluctuating. And so we want to create a situation where we can add more value to the cocoa by producing cocoa liquor, cocoa butter, for export, so that other businesses can go and make it into finished products.
Mampani John Dramani Mahama manano anso ha eno wachire mu senye koko nko ano domfo nyankopon wode adom ye oba oman Ghana mu wani abro ska ko ye wo bi denchembo de keka ho nyina no ye wo bi afeso ye kwa ye brentu ahodo mu ano ye wo nua ahodo a enya asam keto akra na ne nyina adamu na ban mu mpanimfo enhye se be konkrofo man so yemfa nkɔ ne saa asa de sitie no gold no e bibi beka ho saa so ne timba so de bibi beka ho na ne nyina mu no ye besre Korea ban no South Korea man no so mbetimi agire ye chi na ye natural resources ne ma ahodo a odonfo nyamopon de adom ye no ya de value to it na timi abo man Ghana empuntuo ono so ho nsem sei ne mampani John Dramani Mahama echirechiremu.
Ghana, like other African countries, has a potential for critical minerals. And so currently we're exploiting bauxite, manganese, and gold. And we've discovered vast reserves of lithium and some nickel and other rare minerals. Korea has the technology, and we believe that we can explore these minerals together and not export them in their raw form, but add value to the critical minerals and export them both to Korea.
And they say, "Enkomodie your course so our South Korea memo na ne fapem pa no ejina kuayo ehonsem so. Your man pane John Dramani Mahama ka koko die afeso so oba de bebrem ne ma wode adom ye manganese ye gold ye denchembo ye nua ne ho ene ma hodo no nyina wiye no. E no o kire so man Ghana de kura yem pa no eye kuayo emre bi kura na atwam na esitimi ye no baye ya edi bi ko enkrofo eman so na de ha adwene o man Ghana mu sempempe ya na ye kramo efri enkrofo man so na saa emo no ene pesi to na mo na ye ankasa ye ho ye nsa so ye ho adware ye enkrofo man so enkofa emo no bi ema o man Ghana bedru mre bi na ya de ye ho emo no be ndodo pa ewo ye man Ghana mu ne senti obesre ese o man South Korea no man Ghana ento kese na mu ye pesi edua ndo bebrebe no o mu ntimi nso ya sene ma so ade ho ne yebota ne nyina no entimi emram ye mampani kasa de afa mudu ya ho no say no de todwa.
Bilateral relations, we have focused on agricultural and agribusiness to be able to achieve food security, and our cooperation with Koikan has been very important, especially in relation to the increase in rice production, the K Rice Belts project. We're looking forward to the availability of the high-yielding rice varieties so that we can increase rice consumption, because rice has become a staple food in Ghana now, and we want to reduce the amount of rice we import. Africa has passed the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is a historic agreement that opens a market of 1.4 billion people. And the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area is based in Accra, in Ghana. And so we want to create Ghana as the hub for production.
Na your man Penny John Dramani Mahama kasade fa kuayo ho no eno o kye so man Ghana mu ne yakwa yebrentu ahodo mu ne yekua no na nya honkuto poso so ya na ebi koso fi se na me ye ho nsem ne nyina so sa kuayo no your man Penny kire se kro no ba mpempe ya na koso wo poso ne me ya ahodo yi nam na nka bibi mamu de o man Ghana kran kenti bi din ne mpani nsem da na nsen ebi ama ne homre so mfimfim mantem ho Ghana de se ko poso ko chi mu mako bebru du. Na onu say no obesere pa say ene South Korea man ntimi nyina inachi na krono ba hodo a ekoso ye poso no ene yentimi emra no ase na ntimi mu aso man pata yiye ehu kwayo so enye gya na so oman Ghana mu.
Strong seafaring nation, and the issue of piracy is of major concern to Korea, just as it is to Ghana. And so I'm happy that one of the memorandums we're going to sign is to do with maritime safety. The Gulf of Guinea is experiencing several incidences of piracy. And so we'll be happy to have a joint framework for cooperation on the issue of piracy. It has been a strong...
Na ibe free a man Penny John Dramani Mahama nsem ni mu e South Korea ne de ni a che o man Ghana mu na omampani ya bedi echi Professor Jane na no pokwa jema na na eka sei na no kukuada ana na no kwasiada na eyam wiase amanse nyina da wayesi hɔ a wode bo emaso abaso mu dwumadi ahodo mu die ede bo wiase nyina empuntu enye awade mu nkuto oman Ghana ene yese hofa kakra won finfin mante mwenei empanimfo asa agina so bi mama keke omo ho ewa abankese mu anya asam keto akra wono ene yemampani ya bedi echi Professor Jane na no pokwa jema de atudwa cheche mu se uko man bia so yeyu ahodo ekoso no ema ewo mu pa ema anu bere mu bi na nanse no man Ghana ye je tu mu man be ye mra se eni aban nyumakuo na afa dibra ahodo bia no ye nya ma akora kanifo no na nya ohamu abupen aduasa wo kire se ebro sa akora no a ebetimi akonkan yie pa fe so hwe ma ahodo a omo wo man Ghana mu asabio omunim de pa enti omunim mema ne nyina gina bra na gina fa ako a ometimi aboa bo man mpunto ne nkan koso ne nyina so atimi agyeja na so.
We recognize the vital importance of promoting gender equity within our institutions and throughout the broader public service. By backing inclusive policies, promoting women's leadership, and making sure every voice is heard, we strengthen not only our workplaces, but also our nation's governance and growth. When women are empowered, organizations improve, governance becomes stronger, and communities prosper. We are just coming from the Ministry of Roads, and I was very happy to learn that they have about 42% of women in their workforce. This is very, very impressive. So we salute the women in that ministry, and we urge them to do even more. But this is also the time for me to take this opportunity to praise the women in this office and all of you across the public service for your professionalism, dedication, and valuable contributions to national development. Are you cool? Your service continues to motivate the next generation of young ladies who look up to you as role models and leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, the path to gender equality requires collaboration, dedication, and yes, courage. It calls for men and women.
Omampani abedi echira mananso ho ano wakire se de okonyumakuo nim binumu a emana kandie no ekosoro pa bebrebe so komu a ewo fam yie pa wono akwakoye obaatan no abeda ema nyina no wo man Ghana mu na bakosem de mo man Ghana bra ye nya omampani abedi echira ye oba no behwe esa abani nyumakuo hodo nyina betimi nantimu a na ema akandie no atimi apagya na atimi abo man Ghana impuntu.
We are here to celebrate our progress as a nation, but we're also here to reflect on the work that remains. International Women's Day reminds us that a nation's advancement cannot be separated from the advancement of its women. Across our communities, institutions, and workplaces, women exhibit resilience, innovation, professionalism, and leadership. They are the educators, policymakers, entrepreneurs, caregivers, administrators, and change makers. Their dedication and service contribute to inclusivity, dynamism, and prosperity. But while celebrating this truth, we must also acknowledge that gender inequality persists in leadership, access to opportunities, workplace inclusion, and fair participation in decision-making. Overcoming these challenges calls for deliberate, ongoing, and collective efforts. And the theme we have today challenges us to go beyond words and focus on real, measurable actions that promote equity and create supportive.
Na nenkase no ahye no deputy chief of staff ewo omampani be de akira kache maame na we bampu ado ekire se de pese ma anu bere mu bia ma no nyina ekasa no yenya moma no nkoto so ebreduru se mema hodo timi so original no mo kire ne yenya mfasode hu mfasode a ewo emamu ekobasa no a ene ma kanie no betimi akonkan ye pa ma no betimi so hu nkran no ma pre eso mbeboa amoma ne mpuntu so akoso.
Still occupy less than 1/3 of senior leadership roles, according to the ILO. And this tells us that, yes, we have made progress, but there's still a lot more work that ought to be done. Equity must therefore be reflected not only in policy, but in practice. We need to create opportunities, we need to nurture talent, and that is how the pathways to leadership will be opened. I'm particularly pleased that today's program provides a platform for dialogue and reflection on women's leadership and influence in the workplace. Such conversations are very timely and important. Ladies and gentlemen, the progress we seek cannot be achieved by women alone. I'm happy we see a lot of male support led by our senior presidential political advisor, former national chairman of the NDC, whose birthday was yesterday. Belated happy birthday, Chairman Ampofo. He has been very, very supportive of us. So when we work together, we'll remove
Yem free sansam ne so na yemwure mu e wo bambo mu nsemu osofo hwa amanwe ho nsem so yemla se bedwane de madesia e wo asanwase abato mpesua so nyamfo mu ntaka asem na mekan ene wa friends and for the nsem bia to yem nyina da ene se no bi o mapono mu se Ghana mabunu wo pepa se wo ko fire mu wo ko police mu wo ko immigration mu wo ko prisons mu no ene betina ko fa form so bia na enso he o mayebi na ho nsem de apagya pa wo ye man Ghana mu nei woni yen central kasa no wo kire so Ghana mua bamba adwuma kwambobo so yi omundru 100,000 mpemo ha nenso wo hwe omusika abosom bi edema wo mo no a na ebro Ghana sika fofo 13 billion Ghana cedis na abosom bi ya no yetwia ede ema wo mo na wo kiremu a na kire se enipa dodo a kofa afom se ombewura immigration mu ombewura police mu ombewura prisons mu no katua bi na obefa wo mo wo kire se wodo immigration se kura no eye mfato ho a Ghana mabu na kofa afom so no eye 180,000 nenso emu apem pe na mo befa 1,000 pe na mo ebefa saa so na police the same thing saa so enetia o kire se enye sa aban ne boapa ese nka wo mfa nipa na emum no se si emprempre bi bo man Ghana gine mu oden IMF no a ye de ye ho akwakosa ase no ye je ye hu twabere kura o na aka ho bia nipa dodo na ko pese o mu wura bambo agire tuku ni mu no ye ntimi emfa dodo no nyamfo mu ntaka ani ye kasane se bi sei no leto ye ni mu.
No, we are under an IMF program, and knowing also the economic challenges that we inherited, and being the first recruitment that we'll be doing, the economy can only bring in 2,500 more police officers. 2,500. I mean, other ranks, and then 500 cadets. So when you put that, that's just about 3,000. Meanwhile, we have 130,000 that are opting to join the police. With the Ghana Immigration Service, by the time we closed the portal to our utmost shock, there were more applicants to the Ghana Immigration Service than even the Ghana Police. The total of over 180,000 young men wanted to join the Ghana Immigration Service. But the interesting thing is that today, the Ghana Immigration Service, the strength from the Comptroller General to the last officer at immigration stands as 18,300, less than 20,000. Yet you have 180,000 opting to join. And unfortunately, because of the space, the fiscal space, we could only have a space for 1,000. We could have space for only 1,000. When you come to Ghana Fire Service, by the time the portal closed, there were 124,000 applicants. 124,000 applicants for Ghana National Fire Service. Meanwhile, the current National Fire Service, from the chief fire officer to the last officer, they are just about 17,000 plus. yet you have 124,000 wanting to join the Ghana National Fire Service. The Ghana Prison Service, when the portal closed, there were 71,000 applicants. The Ghana Prison Service, as we speak today, their strength is just a little over 14,000. So just suppose their strength now, as against the number who wants to come. And in the case of the Ghana,
it was one for Shaman, we are some sort of watch it, and I just said, a dodo no and I became fear. Omuntimi nko bambo agya tuku adwuma ko ne emu na no see no wase cheche mu a ese ene eba ne sa feed ne koye soronko obefa form so na online what 200 cities no wi a ho nso hwa nyina no so ye online no a abefo kwan so na abaye no nei na adom kuma na bu afu kire se eno no nye sa tesom ko twero ye ene wokọ na wo twero nso hwe no na se wi de dempo ana obi ye de dempo kura na sa abefo no AI no wotepa obeba no na ware poto wabrekro bi kran so kran ka wutwa ene nso enam se wo hu se weti bi aba ho na bi adan wuti kura free camera na nimu no wa disqualify ti eba dodo no a na ya disqualify wo mu nyamfo mu ntaka eche no se nya bo apaye na se de be ye nipa ntwintwa mu no be free ho na minim we free ha we free be ni nyina timi free ho nti ana sa adwumade mu dane ade ma AI a de sanso ni nyina ekogu ekowi ase no do no a disqualify no enti ono so kasafo ahu se ya emu nchire mu no nyamfo mu ntaka de mai
citizens. I've heard so much criticism and why this, why that. And I told people, let's assume that I said that, look, without maybe a very bad example, we are going to receive this recruitment to only media people. Let's say there are only media people who will be recruited. You and I know from the length and breadth of our country, the media people we have is more, they are more than 5,000. What criteria are you going to use to get 5,000 out of that more than 5,000? Definitely you have to develop something that will help. You may talk about how fair the thing is or how unfair it is, but what method are you going to use as a way of not using human interference? So that I look at you as, okay, you can go, you are too short, you can't go, you are too fair, you can't go, that one is too tall. I mean, so you have to use a system that is devoid of human interference to enable the system to carry you to that end. Yes, I know the disappointment, I know the difficulty, but the issue is about joblessness and not issue about the security. And you, all of us know, you want to get a professional police officer, you want to get a professional immigration officer. You just don't want any person who will go in. I mean, I'm sorry to say this. We are having a challenge with people with mental issues in the service. You have people with drug issues in the service. All these things are things that you use, and through that, some people will fall along the way to enable.
Ya twaso wa pomde mu nsemu ede amamo na ede ni achira comfort abanya resabie mu ede amamo na nsemu kidini yade ni pagya ne ho pa ewo oman Ghana mu amane bono kra kire se emabundudo no a na enya bi ewo oman Ghana mu no akoye asem ano odin twesa pomne mu mpanimfo etu na ase fem na ye so adese no ye hwe ya setuna ene ye dedie mu ayi se de be ya yade ye ntimi enya bi ne neyi eye wiase mansan da we yesi wo de kasa ade fa kidini yade ne ho ekwan ho sanya bi ekwa hodo so a obefa so abo ne ho ban afre ho wono ana aka ho bi a apomdim adwumayefo konfa no cha ban resa bia mu ade apomdim nante ahyehye so a nante asante mantem ko pokumase mu ade adisua ama Ghana adehye ese kidin yade ne ma no homne so pa enti obi anye na afamu de ese de be ya yade no ye betimi abra no ase ewo ye man Ghana mu oko konfa no chi aban resa bia mu a opani kese a wono na ehwe kidin ho yade ye konfa no chi aban resa bia no Professor Oshwe ne ye bonkomo ma yade se de esi pagya ne ho ewo man Ghana ne asante mante mu nyina no emu nche mu sei no de mai
ubenya nipa mo 7 anase 8 a omo kidney disease anase omo kidney yarewa no ena yare no so de ma ne ye hu ne se se wo bia wo hu se emo nkaye wo se mitiye me ya me na ye me anase wanya kidney no wo hu ubenhu anu no na eduru akire na eduru ba bia ye be ka se ye be ubehia kidney machine anase bibisa enti ye dehuro na ye bo ne ye bo dehuro se yare na ede kidney yare ba na ye hu se mojabuso ne diabetes ne pese ye hwehwem wo bia no ho aduro ye free e wo health insurance so wontua ka te se wo pese wo no oto edra bia ne board ne health insurance to enti se peke sa yare mienu intemo dia ne ya hwe na wo enya kidney disease ne kra na wa ma medru ba bia e wo se wo ba dialysis so ana se wo ba wo be hia kidney operation no ati and apart from diabetes and hypertension, make one semi. Enrubone, make enrubone, I make say a drubi wa ye brunier drone, so a bit massa kidney. Abrewabe.
Na nenkasi no wachi no so de woni kire konfa no che abanya resebi em doctor ba akro so a emofra so onya saa kidney yade o hwe ma na so ye kanifo de ema wo mo so ene yense ncherofo ebonkomo kire mu a doctor na akua bankomo agima na pia ono so nkase mu no sei ena wade tuja
no so obwa emma e control blood pressure into kidney no to chima it's me my pressure costro and then your foot wa ye de mo bia ne say insuo nom ye body ro say num nsuo bebre cause kidney pain nsuo pa yensi yenchine so painkiller brufen ya na e high into yense so and once in a while ye mama nom ye papa nom ye sermo once in a while fire clinic fire hospital fire lab bia ne ka so person check your jonso o person check your son no said ye esi eye adwumafa because ye hu Jesus say your cases no kwa na ekosho usually obi ni mempanyimfo ndie no nanso ye mane de ya na ye yi ani acha and na ye kan say ye fefra ye nwa ye maamenom ye call apemfo clinica ni ye ko twa scanner ye kan hwe mo so omo hwe kidneys no so man da bia ya na ye pese hu so ye oba na abema eno ye nanso so ye me hwe kidneys no so nka ho because ye nim say ewo enkora mo no ade ba akopa broni beka say the first cause the kidney problem se ban ye de wo ye ma no enti time a wonyem no ewo so hwe man oba yare a echidi yare malaria ebuwe hapa onyanya malaria mesero infant nefi Ghana ni bia nim se de si treat malaria
aye free apomde ho nsem no so na ye de ne be kire dwade mu kakra na yakoboma ono ewo ahafo mantemu na amanaba no kire sem rase bedwane de ma de se water no off abaton besu so Dr. Gideon Buakun wa ye nyame so ade pa fi se aboma adwem ho no kire se ho atache pa sabese biu na ho tan ko ba se nsu ato no wonya be mbokwa no watu ne ye se basa no na dwadefo yi no mo mkoto ade no do mo se aguamo bo office atache ade krum ho aboso na adwem ho aboso wo na papa ya fa ato no ho so a ene wo siese se de be ya sabese be ho ebetimi aye akona atimi aboa amadwade ho nsem atimi eto na mo ewo epom ho wo ne yense ntrofo bonkomo a ekwan ofa asote ye ne nne hyehyɛ wo de agu akwa mu esiesie ho no de mu nkyere mu nyina e mai sei
ya no mutaye ne nyina de sɛ obeku market ne nyina concrete na aye kama na ya ma me no me adofo a be pese mo be badwom a abade titwa no sensuo to yo mfutuo ene atɛkyɛ ene fi ne no ma tanta bebre no ebe fi ha de metal posts and so apa ICC bra ego concrete in ICC the idea they say we are at the chance ebe ku so amomo said ebe ya we abon so a ebe so do omo na we no and so do omo befu ti ya we ni na so ma sign after metal posts and no so ICC e o market ya na ya we fi so de amomo no mo so atena enwunase e de atiga said ebe ya we and so omo befu ba bi e to aduane de asese yiti ho amenti ana ye sa dwumadi ende ade asisi bomba market ofi say awo me eba be si me market ha concrete and careful ti menso me de kakra metimi no manfo aye na mapen so ye benya o madwom ye sisi o kama de amabobafo ye hospital ha ye secondary school ha eti adwumayefo bebre o ha teacher for nurse for doctor for sabi obi free ne kro mu abatra kro aso be ye adwuma now no ne kro ba bi okodi dwa no ho ye need hot kama now back room ha no okodwo no ho se kro no eja no montia o tira ka so mra beto ade a e bia oba tapa wo ye hira no ha ya dia kwanta wo ye hira no ha ya ya fo ye hira no ha ya eti so afaka akotapa ya wada
Mrasaba dwane nkase no akire na ene adwadefo ma ne bisudi nkomo se mo na motena wie mu ene atache mu edi dwa nei mo mrasaba dwane obetu anamo ede ma mo asambe na mbeka ede akire no
yenye o Dr. Gideon bo akon ye da wase ye dwai edwai mu se basa nsu etokra wunya ba bi mfa enkanka ye de ton aduane mpodie ene nsu etwa ye mu de yenye ye duane na da woro ma se wo ye wo be gu edwai mu wo gu so wono aginem wasa tonade ama ye di sisi oh doctor why ade dodo nyame nhira obo mama mo so le waka ne ye nso ni mu
o ma no kwatenten o ma na hoodene o ma na nyini nche o ma na yokodro hunhum ye dwane de asai efise nsuo to na ha ya ateche nkoa na mana deda asai enti nsuo to kora obi antumi medwa obi mu se nsuo mu na kora wo ma osuro se nsuo ba beto aka na hye ha wonya ba bia emfa ne nyema nkonkogu ti gido de na se ye de hu asema e beka kire no mpo e ka kire so obia mrabo madwa bnada obia mehwe de gido aye wa ya ade papa ti e bompa so obia mradwo mu ase bo madwa e bat se first no enti e bompa so obia mra na emma emos first no ye de ye ho ase what ma be side pepe o ya maye nsuo to adwom a achache nko a wonya bi kura mfa wo nansi tache popo kwa so woro kisa do pa wati wo bete eno mo musiesie ne ma wo fom ne de umfa bi ne nyina ada ne achache nko a na se doctor be ya de fefe se ya maye ne a ye ni aso bebre ka se nya menhira no won kosoa nye akase maye ye ni aso bebre obi e ne wa bibie ne ho wa ba adwu ye dwan ho da won na adwu
ono so ene ebegina na etwa akwaje adwade nkrato ma ba nsem ne pii na aka akira ye de ebeto amaso Yɛda masɛm atwa me akwaji adwadi nkrato aba fe yɛnto ayɛnsɛm ne so ɛmfa ɛmamo yɛsɛ kɔ ɔman Ghana yɛmra sɛ badwa fie mu na mra sɛ badwa fie mu na domkuma na ɛwɔ no ɛkasa na ɔmo kyerɛ sɛ afi etwa mu no ɛna America man no to anamo bi ɛwɔ Nigeria man mu kyerɛ sɛ Boko Haram fo yɛ wɔn mo ha agidifo na sɛ Christopher a ɛwɔ Nigeria man mu ka ho bi ɛma Donald Trump wasoma atopa yekodi wo yi bi edeko Nigeria mamu a ekosɛ wo mo atena ye ne fempu kura no bebrebe no kura no etina nom ewo ensie do enrada na waso afɔhwɛ amro ne ho nsɛm so kopie mu ewo London brochima mu wo kasa no ɛna wo kyɛ sa na mo nto no ekɔso no ɛyɛ adesra Nigeria man no de to US man animu ɛno mutu sa na mo nso mo ne Ghana ne tubo mu free sɛ ɛba ne so mo soma sa atopa ye so makro no akɔ Nigeria man mu a ɔmo ntimi nsoma mfam free US man mu ma hɔ ɔman Ghana mo mba bi tena ya sa bomb ye soma ma ne kɔ Nigeria man mu na sanse ko Samuel ko je to abra kwade to odwa no ɛna dom kuma mu fo no kyerɛ sɛ ha adwene yie pa sɛ obɛka ma wiase afɔ na nyina tie free sɛ sa ICC kremosuma tuato dom a wɔ Nigeria yi omo be oman Ghana pa anti so so afọ no kasa ansem no a na oman Ghana na wo mo yesi onto mago abonte bia e kina bi no ababeto ahye enso me konkum ye ya kwakọ ha adwene yie pandin nsem no a oso afọ no tu dwane wan kasa yie kura to mbe se so be oman Ghana mra se be fie mu mo saman no na obe yie ne ho ano na botayi ntem no kasa asem nkrofo aman so no watimi achi mu edi amaye okọ oman Ghana mra se be fie a abajeku ahwam no ne ho nsem so no nyamfo Samuel Abu Ginapo oyɛ ranking member wɔ hɔ ɛna ɔne nsɛnkyerɛ fo bɔ nkɔmɔ a ogina dom kuma ne nyina na mu ɛde nsɛm to asomae.
What is the framework within which the Ghanaian government collaborated with the United States of America? We are reliably informed and we are reliably guided by the former Minister of Defense, who is on my right-hand side here, that at no stage in the 8 years of the Akufo-Addo administration did the government of Ghana get into any agreement with the United States to have Ghana be used as a base for launching military attacks in other foreign countries. So at what stage and through what legal mechanism or framework did our government collaborate and agree with the government of the United States of America to unleash a military action and airstrikes against a terrorist organization in a foreign country, Nigeria? That is the first question. The second question, if the government of Ghana entered into any such agreement with the government of the United States of America, the dictates and tenets of our national constitution are express and clear that such agreements must necessarily elicit parliamentary approval. And so if there was any such agreement, why has the government as yet not tabled that agreement before the Parliament of Ghana for ratification or otherwise? Thirdly, what are the national security implications for our country with this kind of collaboration? Does Ghana become a target of ISIS? Does Ghana become a target for other terrorist organizations? What measures have been put in place in Ghana to ensure that our citizens are protected and our national security is safeguarded? And so what measures has the government put in place in the light of this extraordinary disclosure by the foreign minister, a very high-ranking official of the government and a member of the National Security Council of the government, that our government, on the blind side of all of Ghana, the media, civil society, parliament, and other stakeholders in our country, collaborated and cooperated with the United States in December last year, some 3 clear months ago, to authorize a military action from Ghanaian soil into a foreign country against a terrorist.
Ti dom kuma no kyerɛ sɛ ɔsoafo hwɛ amanone ho nsɛm so ne aban mu panimfo tu saa na mo no a na etietia ɔman Ghana mmra so ɔmanfa amfa ɔman Ghana mmra so bia finto mmra na omeyi ano ɛda so ɛwɔ dom kuma no afamu a na nansan mu ɛna aban mu panimfo ba abɔnte wokɔ mampani akati a ɔpani kɛse wɔhwɛ amane bɔ na so yɛ ɔsoafo hwɛ amane bɔ ne ketahudie ho nsɛm so Felix Fusuko ate ɛyɛ sɛ yɛto aba ne wie yɛ na banada ne mu panimfo ɛfa Ghana fo ne bi anyuma ɔmanfa ne kwan so koraa ntomote abɛjeko mu hwe mu se da bebrebe kura nkrata na nye na kwan komfo aso fa wo antwa yi nti omaye omu nyina adi na ansero mbe yi sankrofo yi adi no made kia dodo no adi wo na donkuma mufo no se eneyi omode susu ya koman kana na se be fie se enka mpanimfo ente be jokuo me se be fie ente be jokuo bi na omo hwe mfiso omu nyina ya Ghana ade hye na omo mapase omo ye adwuma bo oman Ghana mpuntu na aban ya baaye where you munina edi wa ban a was 24-hour economy beba amaburu anya adwuma na dent na oba de omufa wo mu yi wo mu adi omenyafo afenyo mark nkyese empre dodo a omode sansusua na ko man ga na mra se bedwafie se ko betimi ate bedwaku mu mahwe mu no omode ko ya ne ya bagu omode ko ya ne ya bagu ya hwe omanim kura wo che se banesa na kema minka bi amamuo no e wo man ga na mu no na aban mu mpanifo titiri ani mra se bedwa dom dodo no etietia so a enye ne kwan so kura ono so friends and for the san semi atu ani mu akasa reho so se mpanifo nyina nkasa ntia na omobo time ntimi ntu ho na mo man ga na mra se bedwafie.
The chief of staff directing that recruitment that took place after the election should be terminated. However, state agencies decided to go back to 2017-18. People who have been in the employ of state-owned institutions, not just the civil service, since 2018, were sacked. Attempt to bring this matter to the public space remains frustrated. The first was a preliminary objection by the majority leader, and when we filed an appeal, though the appeal motion was allowed, but the debate is still in abeyance. The motion was moved, seconded, and one contributor was taken. It's been 8 months. It always appears on the other paper. We are unable to take it. Why? A motion was filed in good faith, in accordance with the rules, in respect of Bank of Ghana and the Gold Board. Since December, same was admitted and advertised on the other paper. We have been in session since we have resumed. This is our 6th week or so. Government businesses have found space, but the single business of the minority is yet to be taken. Though the will of the majority is in all cases to prevail, that will must be reasonable, that the minority possess their equal rights, which equal law must protect. A supermajority does not equate to infallibility. A commanding numerical advantage in the House must be exercised with humility, restraint, and profound sense of national responsibility.
Na omade se yanto aso won se fofromu emfa emmo aban mu eba ye no na se mampani John Dramani Mahama ba afie twa mu no eno ye se ekwan ahodo a abanada ne mpanimfo ni bi fa o man nsa asedi ye tunton ye no moto na fofofo nti ene se be ton o man nsa ase paade wode won sa to so a ene omo enton bi mu kra ka hu bi madom kuma mu kasa sa wo ho afei ana abrewa yi puma kwa mo kire se so a omre to so se ne obi ntimi nto oman no adwapade na so oman ne nsa ase no omayi e de afri so na na ho hyehye enie osofo be de chi ohwe nsa ase ho nsem so nyamfo Yusuf Solomana afren central for no wo kire se de abana ye nie se wo pepa so be to oman na nsa ase na de djuma bia bo oman ga na mpuntu okura no a ene atoyemu ho a no na wo hamu wabu pen aduason se wo to no teku na asa sempoa obedi ken atwia e de ato ne ehu sampa asase no watwia ken konkowi ase na ene abman asase pa asabi osabi wo komi kromo pente nwase a ho asase korantimi mfama o enka ne sika 100 million na 200 million nenso obetimi gina ankratimi gina kuma ase takorade ani sunyane no ato o man adwapade bi okura no a 300 million kura no enuru mo kire se ha adwene ye point man ye se ya o masa kire mu no pese oto o man na asase obetimi ato nenso ato ye mu ha no ha mu abupin aduaso eye ehonbo ne ho sika obetwi adi kan de ama wo mu sande aka no watimi atete osoafo yi ene e bonkoma nsakire hodo o mode yaba no one emu nchemu emae.
And subsequent approval of cabinet of the findings of the committee that I chaired that worked on the public lands review. So we are here this morning for an update as to how far we have come with the implementations of the recommendations. You'll recall that the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources on the 16th of February 2026 organized a press to update the public on the approval of the recommendations contained in a memo that was submitted to Cabinet and which was subsequently approved. I am pleased to provide an update on the implementation of key directives and reforms arising from the announcements he made. This briefing is intended to inform the public that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, working in close collaboration with the Lands Commission, has commenced the implementation of several important reforms approved by Cabinet to strengthen transparency, accountability, and efficiency in the administration of public lands. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the media, I am therefore happy to announce the implementations of the following key reforms. 1. Review of the public.
Na ibefri sansam ne so na ya de ani akyerɛ enwomasua mu biem ɛwɔ Amanse West Mansini mu kura efe no adankunama ono ɛwɔ ɔboa anase Amanse West Mansini mu ho asɛm na mekan na ɛhɔ ana amanabɔ no kyerɛ sɛ omusuku adan ni nyeja naso kra ono aka ho bi ama assembly member wo epomoni o ne sato ne sayem esra ba mu mpademfo sɛ enwomasua de ho hia pa ɔman bia betimi atumpo na konkan a na ebehia mu animdefo akrache ni nwrabafo a sɛ betimi ada nimde ne adwene ne atimi de abo ɔman ne mpuntu sɛ fa na pomoden fa na nwomasua ya yɛka ho asɛm fa na honedie fa na nsuwansuwa ne honema pii to mbɛsrɛ aban sɛ nneɛma ahodo a esi akwan na emwa emma enwomasua ho nsɛm entimi ntumpon ɛwɔ adakunama no ne aban mu mpanimfo hwɛ na wɔnkasa yie pa emfa ema wɔ mu owura semere yebo a ene yensensuo no sɛ kwaku bonkoma wɔde nsɛm sɛ yɛtu dwa ɛde mai
wɔne nana hema de ka aka no how bebree na ne titiriw ɛyɛ kuri sɛ bi public toilet kra no yɛ ni bi yɛhwɛ yɛ schools a since be 20 years sɛ de na chairman ɛka no renovations bi akra ɛnkɔ so na school na akra no ɛyɛ just primary JHS kra yɛ ni bi yɛnia na yɛtumi ɛne mpanimfo bi aka bɔ mu a yɛtumi anya ɛyɛ 3 classroom block bi for KG enso ɛno kra no is uncompleted nti yɛbɛsrɛ na at to yɛwura DC sɛ bi da bia yɛde letters ba no ɔno nso ɔmɔmɔden na ɔmɛboa yɛn adukra ma ha yɛhwɛ yɛ KG school yɛhwɛ community center ya ɔhwɛ akyire ya sɛbi sɛnka ɔmo nyinaa bɛ mu a nka yɛtumi atra ha we nyinaa yɛ kru na nkakra unit committee for ne assembly members ne mpanimfo bi na yɛtumi aboa me na duru sɛ assembly ni bɛ mu a dwumadi we ɛnkyɛ kra yɛbɛtumi ayɛ den awie nti yɛsrɛ sɛ mede bɛsi yɛwura DC so Honorable Morris yɛsrɛ na sɛ wɔkyɛ a wɔnkae yɛn nso bi adukrama wɔnkae yɛn medase fesi kɛseɛ paa yɛ sɛ wohwɛ yɛn kwadaa no agye sɛ ɔmo nante firi kurom yɛ akɔ akukurɔ so anaa mmosea so enti sɛ wote akyɛman kɛse so sɛ nsuo tɔ a first no koraa na nsuo tɔ a ɔmo ntumi nkorɔ so kwan no na bridge no na ayiri enti ɛwei ɛma nkora no nyɛ nika a ɔmo de
enti wei enumnyamfo Samuel yebo a wono ene ye assembly member wo kra efe no adakuna ma so no ankasa ebodi no ewo Amanse West Mansini mu na ne nkase no achi no ene mpanimfo ahodo ne yawofo ne bi wopo moka bi ewo mu no ka bi eto so se enwomasua ho nsɛm bi ehia pa tombesra ba ne mu mpanimfo so ntwe wani emfa hwe wo mo
mebe wo kro ma na kro no se asa de esi aye me kro mo aye na wotwe bia yenye o madwuma ne community ya de nya mbia da wo ma ne nipa ayi wo mu no madwuma ni wona nso pra ye di ekuro ni ni so yenke eno nso be ka ho a enke be bo aye ye ha o pa de ayi na nsa se de no mu sika ta na frase se de no mu sika ta no ya de ye ni kwa mu kafo kai bia duru ho ani ya be break no na emu nipa ni age wo musika nyina nyame adan roma aban na ama bambofo abetena wa aban ya sese yetimi etwam kokuma se aye ho atoye kakra pa de wa wo hie kuro ya yesra banse omo aye na yekuro ise bi kuro kitwa emu eno ente yeni doctor yeni hwe school so kra na sese nkra ni twa akwai wo makọ abrense no wa school aban mo aye nke school na yekuro ne nkra no wo mo ntọ wo
because program if you see the said about him, I can't correct. For the past 20 years going there, you fought for Marco School, cross so and go cross on so after there and you go. The other high you two and a more baby say, you been your more, you bet me they are starting EHS here then, ever. But hopefully, go out now better. Yes, sir. Say, I buy it my ear more, and I say, now down my bit many EHS and Kababu and the other.
Na ibe free Amansia West man city mo na yaba Amansia South. Na manso do bia ene yakona say mo na adehye ho ne aban kra chempanifo ba amane. Esa dan ho bo ekosoro pa enam sa aman ne yekoso opomo. To mo da checherefo ba nam se sebe checherefo sikeswa. No mo ntimi mfa han dan opomo nti. Ene be hu we agene ho ahane. Okwa wo mabiem okwa wo mabiem abana sa na ngomasi ho nsem ya to ape e wepem ho wono na aka ho bia ene kro no mu ade hye nyina manso de bia maka mo ho abomu ese afinya kopon de yenkwache na wiye mu omre dwumade be hye so mo bodwa na mo ye hom kamil kese pa kaka wonsa ase na teachers quarters ye bi ni epom ho no masisi bi era ma chekere from bo nya ba bi do mutire ato no matimi abo a kire wo ma ade ama ngomasi ho nsem ne kro ni mpuntu nyina so atimi akoso assembly member de ma ade hye wo manso do bi nyanfo Peter Anre wono ne di omu nyina animu asa hom kame dwumadi omadano adie wone yensenhwo ni atokwa amna bo ho nkoma no nyanfo ri nsemi eto asomai
you see teachers quarters the boy a chirechirefo a omo edubia grum here na sika enya ye no ye see e de dru full level ye flow so a feed ye no ye pese kakra benya ne de complete na a chirechirefo no ekom uyi eno so free wa nse Easter no da bia na akoye kwawu ye pese edubia man so ye de enije sonko eba omo enim na omo nije no hunu se hu behia so omo kofie na omo ne omo abusuafo omo adofo omo classmate akoto se didi edi nkomo edi omo ho nkomo na aha eye nikan eti ye pesika edi abo man no na ye de enije sonko so ebehye omanfo no mu ama omo afiaso o say omo eji omani enunti na ene e hye dwumadi say officially ye the pa 2026 homecoming ne hontuma ye wo big challenge pa e wo accommodation for teachers for afem say ya ha no sense ha be the capital any the emergence of galamsey ninti ama enema bo kosoro yenso enimi a church for market ya ama omuntimi en compete prices of a dino rent no tine hu be hia say was my assembly man na nanom ye kan tripam ho na ye boa wo mo ye ntimi ntu ase na emom ye bete so na omo so ehwan ha omo
na manso adubia assembly member no kase no wa chira man bon chese sa na montu yo mutui okọ manso takra so asa tumbesi dani bi so e wo hon na ka ho bi amonunya fodom ne bonso ono ye assembly member de ma de hye wo manso takra se ene ade hye ni bi wo pomo so kasa e momo so de ehia wo momo de tuja sei
mate wo ba bia udu nkran ya uni classmate bia parliament azu ni obia ye ko dwubri house a me no ka say ndc ba ma so ni ba na wo dwubri house o ye adwuma eti ye nkaka class teachers ni nya ba bi da na omunya akoma party me kira de e ma nkura na ko mutiri mu a that me gidi say ba bi a ye bubodi ni ye be hu se mantofo bebre e dai e hye ho eti me sre obia la wo ba bia takra se afraso that no fo nyina say aha ne district capital omomra sa program e da ye ni mu ye be say ye na afibia no ye ji ani no ne ye ya de fro so de aboa oman na oman no etumpon se o kai last year de see no me am de agege e ba manso adubia enti this year de wo hwe yanim na no ma de ba ne de e chance so enti be say obi bia wa kontum bia obi o manso patam bia no ya me boa e free 31st e de ko no wo fo mo ni me na adubia ko no me hwe no ma e be si e wa ha
enen so ye wo mofra bi wo ho a omuti omo madam pa chen yen awofo me me ba atan me ba wo ho a wo ka se mission o se me madam say enti sansa ahonidie so e wo ba bia say wo yinyame so mpa free ho a ahonidie na wo ho nti no na che semester te free me mofra ne so enti enne enam say honorable ene ni committee team as I dwumadi so nko de enti say aba manso adubia nti me so me decide say me the dustbin edu e ba be che
o mane shebe dan kuma bia ba na ye wura adwadi ensemu
bia udu
Ya pem so ne yakwa nim wa adwade nsem a ene yebekọ MTN adwumakuo no ena so na se ya hye ne nso na ya hom ba bia MTN fo matena ye ne wo no e wo asante mantema so man gana mu nyina be humpempi no enipa ya ne bodom pem kogu ho eso mosem card na yira omukotwa foforo na doso pa bi mpokuratimi sori ahomaten bo akoduru fie na anajo bi muntimi nko onyuma so bi muntimi nya aduane ma e wo nkro nom mema so tweso mba akọ no omokwa kogu ho wo na MTN adwumakuo no panefo se ha adwune ye panti sei omasa dada wo hu bi mu nim de akwan so a saa na montuo no na se wa hawa Ghana de hye na mu no ano nyina ebetimi abrase de mo fe no self sim swap no mo de ba kire se wo sim card na yera hu hia eso be ko MTN office ene obeto sim card ya hwi eni so na wo wankasa ene number dada no wadi hihye so no wabo ade aguso na card na ba be ye ode se de be ya onko MTN for office enkudi la bia eso na mo kire se ene oba na sa no ye *133# *133 3 na ya miensa na wandi kana de hash ato so na wadi hihye so na atimi abo nti nei omako kaje ti adwa kese mu ho hihye nyina mo wakọ kire adwadifo ene Ghana de hye ewo epom ho wono ene ka ho bi ma owura ni adotemenga wono ene ye general manager ma northern sector omo adwumakuo ndo hwe adwade ho nsem so no wonya abre ede mu nchiemu ma isi
sim card wosim yira ana se sim na expire ana bibia ultimate most of the time oba your office CNC somehow na eteki process take long kakra say no ye decide to me na share customer nsem into no dia ni say obeto blank sim card na wa wo fie wo office o say wo domu na wa ye sim replacement no say wo yam phone no problem say wo smartphone so no problem what to me so sign ye ma obi you know wo kita smartphone na obi our own senior no plan na wo sign to me ye ma obi started pilot project from October about January 18,000 plus swaps successfully. You know, we are very sure say we na ya just say across Ghana no you bet me ayo baby until wow women the branch bia say unya and one so atosim efi we bia wo
na nenkase no wachi no sa adwumade omode abai ho bambosem ejeja na so pa tinya de so bia betimi aba awura wo sem ka ne so ne bia number ne kura no yaje ho bambo ho nsem sei eno de todwa
we are safe and very very robust and you use a liveness check for the facial recognition na so obia every human being bia no when him unique no eno no untumi and bypass system no swap na ni na be ba wo ye wie ya so within 1 minute wo dey share any sim no share any phone mu a e be ye adwuma ye pese customer no ye pese customer no stress in ho enti no the time and cost
omare hye ne ye bawura mu akọ nkrofo ema so yetwa bosompo ne akọ nkrofo man so na amro ne nsem de aban de asomwa na ye kọ Ukraine mamu yenim se Ukraine ene Russia ntokwa ne guso a ekoso a entwaye ene bae na chepa obehu na Russia fo de abase yakum Ukraine fo sojafo wa ha ya se omodwapadi sei ne yaye no amanebo no ekere se anu Ukraine fo so keke omo ho a omo kere se topaye somakuro yi omo akose bebi pa no Josu omoye ewo Russia mamu a omosoma ni mpempi ede ba Ukraine mamu no omosoma akwa se no a enya sampeto akra ene Ukraine mampani ede sansem no atudwa ene o kire se ukọ Russia mamu se do hwe Kessben television so bebi ade kokọ na ewo no ho ene be ya sa soma topa yeso makro no omoye ewo Russia mamu a ya no moto ede ba Ukraine man so Ukraine fo no kire so matimi asoma topa ye akọ ho a omakọ akwa hye ho ase ne nyina ama ahoden no de se enikuta Russia fo no etimi eba fam na kire se wi modern mo nsem wa Ukraine aban mo mpanimfo eka ese bia ya ene Russia fo yi omo asopa ye somakro no sisi ade amakọ akwakwhye no omo pem so SSA enema enyina na amrone nsɛm so ɛna yɛgyina ha na yɛde nsɛm no nyinaa asie ɛde amamo samufo penny ɛne wɔfa kofia piadwo akyerɛ waka ho bi justice mafo yɛ videos no nyinaa Mr. Stefan Kwate na director ni so Samuel Sapon her sound ɛna fi Edward so ɛbɔ n'akyi dɔm yaw pages no make Facebook na masika papa bi ɔne bɔ vt no nyinaa maame ma Godfred so ɛbɛgyina camera n'akyi Isaac Mensa ɔne wɔ MC ɔde me call Emframamu unua Kapeni anaso nua bɛmɔ Sempakani Samson menam nya Abraham de mu nkyɛ mu ɛbro na yɛkɔyi Nyankopɔn yɛ adom 19th of this month ɛna me ankasa me ama mata bibia me wis senior high school St. Joseph Seminary Senior High School no wa Asante Mampong ɛna yɛdi mfia aduonu num na saa mfia aduonu num afo fida no ɛna yɛhyɛ ho fa ɛnya samketo akora nkyɛ kora Kessben television so ɛho promotion no ɛbɛkɔ so na Nyankopɔn yɛ adom a 19th of this month no ɛyɛ St. Joseph Day no yɛbɛdi na fe November bosumi no wa afi mu no ɛna ne kese pa no ɛbɛkɔ so adwumadi ahodo awom homecoming awom afi quiz wom inter schools ɛne afi inter houses ne nyinaa so ɛhyɛm bia ɛnyɛ asamketo akora nti St. Joseph yɛtiri nkwa yɛdi mfie aduonunum you free search my ba St. Joseph mu no ahoteefo yɛdi mfie aduonunum nti yɛbɛhyɛ ho fa ɛnyɛ asamketo akora nam gidi yɛ sɛ inter houses competition no Savino ibedimu enkunim ho na me wona face business no class no yeso yetimi apem akwenim pa enti 2013 2012 2014 batches awodo no nyina no momra o students ho asem na mekan na adwumadie no entimi enkonkan
asasene ye papa mani dan wadi so ya asase pa efrise ni nkyere mu wa abebuo ni mu no ye hunu se ensase ne nkwanchan ne motan no eye nipa suban a ye de ginyame asem enti beye den na mini pai ma ya asase pa afi ye nto aso nkan awurade asem
afirihye no amu efrise awurade ehyira no
efrise odiano afinamu na efisia na wodua ye namu no enu amu na wotwaaye na awurade asem sisu dua se efrise se bible no ya wodia na wo momokwa na ya wo study bible a wotumi di make references a sign efrise no ase awurade hyira no no eho underline it because I will stretch it and I will stress it sign one asemame awurade Yesu Kristo opagya nipa se wo bible no brofo ka ho a ene menkenka brofo no Genesis chapter 26 verse 12 when it say then Isaac sowed in that land and received in the same year